Of course, it is that time of the year again where we all gain about an hour of sleep. You want to set your clocks back 1 hour. It's also a good time to check your batteries and your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and maybe even your NOAA weather radios if you have one. Of course, you all should have one, especially if you're watching us here on Weather Nation. And some folks having to see those new sunrises and sunsets. I personally am not always a big fan to start seeing those days get shorter because I take the dog out for a walk normally in the afternoon. Well, we go out in the morning too, but yeah, she's yawning already. But we're looking forward to seeing, the earlier mornings with a little bit more sunshine to start off the day. But I was kind of wondering what other people here, especially on our Facebook wall, thought about switching your clocks back an hour or daylight savings time in general. And some folks actually did have some pretty interesting comments. Here, let's take a look. From Teresa, I like daylight savings time. Gary says, leave it like it is now before we change it and don't ever change it. And I kind of understand that too. Jonathan says, daylight savings time is absurd, serves no purpose other than to irritate people and to force them into unnecessary jet lag. I guess I can totally believe that and understand that as well. And then other folks are excited to see that extra hour of sleep here overnight tonight. Some other folks think that one standard time year-round is actually a really good idea. They want to leave the time alone, or they do like it, don't change it. I like that extra hour of sleep even though I don't get up, or even though I get up at 3 a.m. So I do understand. I used to work those early morning shifts as well. But of course, follow us here on Weather Nation TV. Here on Twitter, you can always hashtag your tweets WNTV, or follow us on Facebook, G+, YouTube. We really want to thank you for sending in all of your videos and your photos here this weekend and this past week, of course, with the busy weather that we've all been dealing with. Our thoughts and prayers here to folks across the Northeast especially. Here tonight, we're still dealing with a few strong evening storms. You're looking at the remnants of Sandy finally starting to make their way out into the Atlantic now, and we are expecting to see a big cool down. Areas that had extremely warm conditions across the south, not really an issue here anymore for you. New York City, you can see kind of piles of rubble here across portions of the town. This is the recovery effort still ongoing. And the remnants of the storm making its way out into the Atlantic here yet tonight. We're not dealing with too much left over here in the way for rain or snowfall. Vermont, New Hampshire, probably the best chances for some rain and snow tonight. Other than that, cool conditions expected tomorrow with clearing skies, and that's not good news for folks that are without power. Another thing, kind of adding insult to injury, unfortunately, is a possible nor'easter that we could see develop here midweek next week. It will make its way northward across the mid-Atlantic and eventually dumping tons of heavy snow here into New York and possibly into Vermont, New Hampshire, Green and White Mountains especially, and then also into portions of Pennsylvania and even northern Virginia. Of course, we're still 7 days out from this, so it could all change, and some of the tracks have actually moved it a little bit further out into the Atlantic, which make it more of a rain event for many of us. Haskell, Arkansas, hail today. They actually had some very strong showers and thunderstorms, and still ongoing here yet tonight, just outside of the Dallas area. And towards Houston, your storms are pretty much over with. Memphis, also seeing some hail damage and high winds. Same for you in Nashville. And here's a few of those storm reports that we've had. Wind damage and inch diameter hail here towards Nashville. 1.75 inches here just outside of the Memphis area when we travel southward, just outside of Dallas. 1 inch size hail, wind damage outside of Victoria, and then to the south of Corpus Christi, Ricardo, about 1 inch size hail as well. So some of Sandy's impacts as well, fuel shortages, temporary fuel trucks from the Department of Defense, and the marathon has been canceled. We know a lot of folks supposed to run the marathon here for your Sunday, but the good news is that transportation is starting to get back underway. Grand Forks, North Dakota, some snow in the area. We have freezing rain advisories here for you tonight from Sunday morning through noon on the afternoon for Sunday. Some locations could get pretty dicey here on the roadways as we look on the interstate, especially north of Bismarck. You want to be extremely careful, and maybe even having some issues with power lines as well. Snow next weekend here for you, and we'll see temperatures extremely cool here from Great Falls, Montana. Big dip in the temperatures here next weekend, indicative of a new system making its way in with 20s expected. Little Rock, your cool down is this week through Tuesday, and then staying in the 70s here throughout the later part of next week. Memphis, also kind of the same type of temperature trend for you. Roller coasters here for many of us. Sunday high temperatures still warm out across the southwest and 90 in LA on Monday.